And yeah, so I think we should start it off.
Okay, we're live on YouTube. Live on YouTube. It's working.
Live on YouTube as well. Okay, that's great.
So
hi everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight during this conversation.
Just give 1 second, actually. I need to turn on Clubhouse. So maybe just chit chat for another 2 minutes.
Well, if we're going to all those places, we may as well hit TikTok and Pinterest and everywhere else.
Yeah, why not? We just and ABC.
Yeah, why not?
Well. City TV. Put a stream on City TV.
Okay. Let me know when you're ready. Sometimes we have technical difficulties, so it's good to see all of these things working together. And then our next step is Clubhouse, actually. So hopefully we'll get it going on there soon as well. So have you had a busy week?
It's been busy, yeah. Always busy. Good busy, though.
Busy is always good. For myself, I got a new project recently. I work in interior design industry, so today we had a huge client join us, and yeah, and it's quite a large project. Funny thing is, I got overexcited and I agreed to having meetings on Saturdays. So
oh no,
that'll be something to get over, I guess.
Yeah,
and it's a fairly new project, so there's a chance that it might change later on.
Yeah, I was going to say nothing's really ever written in stone, right?
Exactly.
But I do that too.
We're good to go?
We're good to go. Streaming everywhere.
Okay. Hello, everyone. This is the Toronto Entrepreneurs and Startups Group event. This is our Spotlight event. We're here with Curtis Stamp, serial entrepreneur, founder of the Goal Achiever Academy, business coach and personal development and mindset coach, and a business consultant. So thank you so much for joining us today, Curtis. Tell us a little bit about yourself and the business that you have.
Oh, sorry. Before we start, everyone that's watching right now, that's on Facebook, that's on YouTube, or even Clubhouse, live on Clubhouse too. If you want to join the conversation, be on screen, be interactive, ask questions, you can join us. The link is es1.ca/spotlight. ES1 Entrepreneurs and Startup, number 1, all right? So es1.ca/spotlight. You can come join us, get interactive in here. And yeah, Curtis has been a big member. We have one person that joined us, Daniel. Awesome, welcome. So Curtis is actually a big member of the TES group and community. You've probably seen him helping everyone out, and it's been just amazing and what he's been doing, contributing to the community. That's why we thought it might be great to introduce him, and the whole point of the community is just to network and have entrepreneurs help out other entrepreneurs. So that's why we have him on here today.
Great, so, thanks for having me on.
Go ahead. Do you want to kind of introduce yourself?
Sure.
And kind of tell us about you?
Yeah, so my name's Curtis Stamp, as Nagin introduced me as. I'm an entrepreneur since a young man. I'm in my mid-30s. A lot of people scoff at that. They still think I'm in my 20s. But yeah, I've been an entrepreneur since I was really young, doing all types of different businesses. And where my heart really felt in love with really was helping other entrepreneurs after I've really overcome a lot of my own struggles, growing my own businesses and dealing with all of that, going through all the different steps and, trials and tribulations of being an entrepreneur, working with all types of different mentors and coaches and different programs. And what I've realized is as I started to discover the way that was working really well for me, is it became something I really wanted to share with other people. And so that's the newest venture I'm involved with now, and that's more of a personal development mindset type thing. And I actually had some questions for Sharky throughout the week, and we thought it'd be a great idea for me to hop on here as well and get some answers to those.
Well, thanks for coming on the show to chat with us. Before we get to your questions, I wonder what has been your biggest struggle and challenge while running this Goal Achievers Academy?
That's a good question. I think it's always the same. I believe running the businesses. It's usually my thinking that gets in the way, and that's something I work on every day. It's like I set this huge goal again for myself, as I guide other people to do, and then it's like, how am I going to make this a reality? It seems almost impossible. So the self-doubt, the fear comes in. So I essentially use what I share with other people to help them go where they want to go, and use it for myself as well. Again, it's starting fresh. It's coming into it with a really like an infant mind, just putting away a lot of what I've learned, and just be willing and open to receive and try new things again, because I'm starting fresh. It's regardless of me having successful businesses already, this is a new field that I'm in. It's a new industry. I'm not quite new now. I'm in for like 6 to 8 months, but it's starting fresh, having a beginner's mind and be willing to learn. So not bringing some old habits in with me.
That's great. Tell us a little bit more about the Academy and what you offer, what kind of services you offer.
Sure. Yeah, so I called it the Goal Achiever Academy because I believe as human beings, we're goal-seeking organisms. Essentially, everything we do has a goal and an endpoint. And if I feel personally, if we don't have a goal, a big goal in our life, we're lost. We're just essentially existing, and we're not working towards anything. And part of our human nature for everybody is growth. I mean, we're either growing or we're dying. So I thought it was a really a great title for this new company, and it really illustrates what we do. And what I do is help people really figure out what they want in their life, and help them get unstuck, because most entrepreneurs experience at a time in their life where they're really stuck. A lot start their business to work on it, but they get stuck and start working in it. And we start wearing all these different hats, start getting the imposter syndrome, and really get plagued with fear. So that was my story as well. And then no matter all the coaching and all the strategies I got, it didn't change how I was feeling about my business and feeling about myself. And that's even being successful. So about 3 years ago, I started studying with someone that's very well known in the personal development industry, and then started working with him. And now I facilitate a lot of his material, and I'm bringing it to the world as well, and helping other people essentially go from stuck to unstoppable.
Okay, that's great. So where did your journey of entrepreneurship begin? What was your educational background, and how did you lead into this path?
Yeah. Well, in all honesty, I don't have too many credentials behind my name. I've entered into the entrepreneurial world and went through the school of hard knocks, is what I like to say. I have a college degree, and I mean, it has nothing to do with what I do. But really, it's when I was very young. I mean, my dad had me working when I was like 8 years old. And then when I was about 14, I got involved with a company he was working with, and then I took it over. And it was a parking lot actually in downtown Toronto. And so I really took over that and started, the entrepreneur in me started to show up. I started seeing ways to how to make more capital down there. And before time limits were even a thing, this was a while ago. And I started introducing all these things, and I started really generating a lot more money down there. And then that's kind of where it started. And the thought I only had one 9-to-5 job, and that was for 2 years. And I just realized that's just not my style. I'm just not a 9-to-5 type of guy. and I like to do things on my own time and play by my own rules as much as I can. So I would say it started when I was about 14.
Okay, wow. Starting at a young age is definitely the way to get ahead, so that's great. So I guess, at what point did you realize that this academy is something you want to start? And you said the reason that you started was to help other entrepreneurs achieve some of the things that you've achieved, and to kind of like help them through it. When you started out, did you feel like you needed that support yourself, or would it have been a lot more helpful to have that? Like, was that a part of the reason why you started this?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, I mean, it's not necessarily what I want. Everyone wants something different. So I help them get what they want. But yeah, I don't know if I would have been ready for it. I think things come into our life when we're ready. So I believe I had to go through what I had to go through before I got to where I'm at. But yeah, I was lost. I felt very alone when I was really starting out my entrepreneurial, like my last business where I really went full in. I felt really alone. I felt lost. A lot of people around me didn't even speak the language of an entrepreneur. So I didn't have the community, and I really didn't have the mindset. Like I did and I didn't. Like it got me to a certain point, but then when I wanted to push through roadblocks and grow, start hiring people, start firing people, stop working with clients, starting to work with certain other clients, I just didn't have the courage to do that. I didn't have the belief in myself. And that was what was really lacking, but I didn't know it at the time. I thought it was more strategy and stuff like that. So I started getting involved with other coaching businesses in and around the city in North America. And I got fantastic strategy. But like I said, my mindset, my belief in myself wasn't there. And that whole imposter syndrome took over. So
Right.
I just feel it's a huge thing missing in so many people's lives. I mean, I even connect with really successful people, and it's the same thing. They reach a certain plateau and they get stuck.
Yeah, Curtis, I have to tell you, you're not the first person to be complaining about imposter syndrome. So there's a lot of entrepreneurs out there who struggle with that and have to find their own way of dealing with it. So we appreciate what you're doing for the community. Okay, that being said, I had a question in mind that I'm trying to get to. Sharky, did you have any questions while I'm thinking of my own question?
Yeah, sure. So we were talking about today's session, and Curtis mentioned about Facebook groups. What made you like? What's your strategy? Is it just Facebook, and why Facebook, or like what's the overall kind of marketing strategy you're thinking about?
Yeah, so that's a good question as well. So obviously the network, your personal network is a great starting point. So I'm not pushing it hard there, but people know what I do, and I've acquired some clientele that way, and then referrals are starting to come in, and the other cold marketing strategies that we all know of, ads and all that stuff. But what I like about the Facebook groups is there's a real good sense of community, a place where I can contain it and provide a lot of value and build a lot of really solid relationships, because I believe that's where all good things happen, is really in transparent, honest relationships. And I observe that in your community as well. And that's something I really am drawn to in your community, is just, you got to be of service to really get what you want as well. You have to give to receive. And that's, I believe Facebook groups are an excellent place to do that.
Yeah, for sure. So I created, so I was thinking this through. Actually, a lot of my friends, not a lot, but like 5 or 6 of my friends have asked me, that started groups because of my group, and have asked me questions and stuff like that, right? And I've always kind of mentored them, helped them out, and I've created a list actually of 17 tips or techniques that I do. So I can share that with you. I'm really thinking through of all the things that I do. I can also share my philosophy. Like, even though tip is a tip, right? A technique is a technique, but what makes it effective overall is the vision and the philosophy. So I have certain philosophy and certain technique and certain way I do with my processes that I do, and I think a lot of other Facebook groups are successful with different philosophies, right? So today I'm sharing with you my philosophy.
Please do.
Do you remember your question, Nagin?
It escapes me. Oh no, unfortunately, I can't remember it. But in terms of Facebook, like how do you draw members into your group? Like how do they pour into your group? I guess.
Are you asking Sharky or me?
Oh no, sorry. I thought when you said marketing strategy on Facebook, I thought you meant that there was a Facebook group.
Well, so that the strategy.
How do you market on Facebook? Is my question.
Yeah, well, the strategy I was talking about was ads, Facebook ads, of course.
Okay.
But the group that I have is it's a small group. It's just starting out, but that's just networking and clients and stuff like that.
I see. Okay. Sharky, do you have a follow-up question?
No. So what I can do is I can just go through my presentation quickly and just kind of ask me when you guys have questions, and then hopefully I'll finish, and then we can have a kind of discussion afterwards.
Okay, so
sure. Okay. I'll be writing away here.
I'll make it easier for you. I'll send you a link to the presentation.
Okay, thank you.
Well, let me see. Okay, can everyone?
We can see it.
Oh, you can actually see. You can actually see my screen now.
Yes, we can see it.
Oh, interesting. I can see it. Okay, great. So how to grow your Facebook community to 6,600 members in 18 months. So I started this about 18 months ago, and then I got 6,600 members from that. And that's, it was pretty good, actually. It was pretty good the way we grew the members. Just second here. Yeah, so it was pretty good way we grew our members, and okay, so I'll just start with kind of the tip and vision. And the reason I started this, actually, it was pretty interesting. So before this, I used to do meetup groups, and I used to organize like live events. We had up to a couple hundred people, like 10 events. And so one day, one of the speakers mentioned he had a Facebook group, and I say, well, isn't that just for friends and friends, right? They stalk your friends and, girls you think are cute, right? That's what I thought Facebook was for. But, he told me that it was actually for building community as well and talking to other people. And I didn't believe him. So I was like, okay, well, I'll just start my own group and just see what happens, right? So I started my own group. And then during the same time, I also started checking out other groups, and I realized the immense value that I got from other groups. And I said, wow, this is the future. And that's when I started, this adds so much value to my life. What I'm doing is all people with the same interest in one area. So that's why I started to put more and more time and effort into the group. So here's my 17 tips that I came across, right? So how do I get all my members? Do you guys have an idea of how I get all my members? Like comment, like from friends, referrals, going into different groups, mentioning, sending links. No, as Facebook recommendation. So pretty much all the members, 95% of the members, I only recently started inviting my friends, but 95% of the members or more even, or people that I don't know. And I did not actively do any marketing. What happened was based on the Facebook algorithm, and any of the members that's watching now, you probably see the majority have seen this in their feed. Either you do a search or a suggested when you go into the buy and sell, or you go into a different group, right? So that's pretty much how I got all my members. I don't do any additional marketing, right? So the strategy here is just to think about how to make sure, how to understand the Facebook algorithm and then play the game and maximize theirs, right? I mean, same with all social media. And so I'm going to share with you what I've discovered the algorithm to be, right? So the number one point is the name, right? So let me see if I can just go to it, right? So the name, so make sure you have the main keywords in the name. So it's named, I mean, like it's very generic name, Toronto, there we go, right? So that's the group here. It's very generic name, Toronto Entrepreneurs and Facebook group. It's very generic, right? So entrepreneurs and startups, that's the keyword. Toronto is also a keyword, right? So the name, that's number one most important thing. Make sure you have the name in the keywords, right? And the next thing, most people don't do this. This is a really simple, effective strategy, is emojis in the title. All right? You guys can see tab is here. You can see it's here, right?
Sharky, sorry, we're not seeing. I'm not seeing anything on the screen, unfortunately.
You're not seeing anything on the screen?
We're not seeing it.
Are you seeing anything, Curtis?
I see a desktop. I saw it minimized and it didn't come back.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. Great. Nope. Just let me know if you guys lose.
Sorry, I thought you stopped sharing the presentation on purpose.
Oh, do you guys see it now?
Yes, yeah. We see the.
Oh, okay. Anyways, yeah. So if you look at the name, so I have emojis here. So that's the next big thing. Is to have emojis, because when notification comes, it stands out, right? If you get notification, look at here. You got these notifications, and this one has like an emoji, right? So that grabs your attention. So that's one thing I did. At the beginning, I had 2 of them. So double, step up the game. In case someone has smart enough to add 1, I add 2.
Love it.
It's great because whenever I get a notification from the group, I never miss it.
Yeah, because you see
so
it.
Easy to see, yes.
Yeah, people don't realize how big that is. You cannot have it on pages. You're going to have it in groups, right? So that's one. That's strategy. But the downfall is that when people search for it, instead if I type in Toronto, it doesn't show up. I actually have to type in the rocket emoji for me to find myself in the search results, right? So that's one drawback. Some people like to put it near the end or not from the front, but I just keep it at the front because it's been working. So let's go on to the next strategy here. Engage a lot, right? So I think that's one of the biggest strategies. I engage a lot. There's a lot of engagement. The logarithm is all about engagement, right? Everything falls on Facebook. Want people to engage. You need to engage a lot, right? So you need a lot of people posting likes and stuff. So I've been monitoring. I've been trying a lot of different posts in the group to see what actually gets engagement. And usually, I think the good thing is that good content get engagement, right? People might say, "Oh, you're just putting like things for the sake of getting engagement." But what you realize is that good content actually gets engagement, right? Bad content don't get engagement. If something's not valuable to the group, they're not going to get engagement, right? I don't in the group try to game it by having like controversial or things that are not appropriate, or like hate speech or things like that, or political things to get engagement. But if you find good content, you can get good engagement from that, right? Experiment a lot. I've tried a lot of different posts. I look at the posts, I see what works and what doesn't work, and then I'm going to share you guys the back end to this engagement. So there's a section here in the page. Here you can actually see. I don't think you guys have access to this, but you can actually see the top posts. Cool. So here I go to, let's say, the last 60 days, right? So this will show you the posts for the group, and this will show you the active members for the group, right? And then here it shows you the posts. So you can actually go through this and see, and you can look at mine. You can kind of do the same thing too, right? See what actually gets engagement in the group. And then you can do more of those posts, right? So anyway, so this is, if you guys want to take a look at this, I'm more than happy to make this public to the group. That's one thing you know about me, and it's one of the points is that I'm very open to everything that you guys want to kind of take a look at to help people with data information. So the next, That sense, recurring engagement posts, right? So this is one of my philosophies. I'm a systems builder. I know that for me, I only have limited amount of energy. I can't constantly go on Facebook. It may seem like it, but I cannot constantly go there and keep on think of new content, post content, and comment. So to streamline that, what I do is that I have recurring engagement posts that I know would have good engagement. I do it over and over and over again. And then I kind of, some of them still pretty manual, but now I somewhat try to systemize it. Number one is the welcome post. So make sure you have the welcome post. Welcome post is the post that when you get new members in the group, new members requests here, you can write like a welcome post. Maybe not here. Home. So new members here. You can actually write a post to the new members here. So we have okay. So, yeah, I forgot where exactly it is. I think it's here. It's just that we have no new members, so it's not there.
Yeah.
But anyway, so you can write a new post to the members. So, yeah, you can write a new post to the members. I highly recommend doing that every single week. Comic posts. I know that I get a lot of good engagements on the comics or memes because I first started posting memes because, oh, this is cool. I'm going to share with the group. And I realized a lot of engagement. So you notice almost every Friday, I post like a funny Friday thing. Share your Instagram post. Oh, yeah. So that's one that I've noticed a lot of engagement in is where people would share their Instagram. So I would always do that I try to do it every few weeks or so where they share your Instagram. People share their Instagram, right? And one thing I like to do with that is that if someone shares an Instagram or someone makes one post, one technique that I've learned is that when someone makes a post, you ask them a question. When you ask them a question, they respond back and then you could thank them, right? So now that one engagement of them saying something like their Instagram now turns into 4 because say, here's my Instagram. And I would say, hey, that's a cool stuff. How's your business? How's Instagram for you? How many, what was the effective technique or that looks nice, right? And then they would say something and then I would respond back, right? So you're able to turn one comment into 4, one engagement into 4, right? So that's kind of a good strategy. Be open and honest, right? So if you look at the posts that were actually popular here or actually posts where I talk about personal stuff, right? So this one was talking about my ex. My ex once asked me if my business was a higher priority than her. I told her the truth, wrong answer, right? That's one of the big mistakes I make in life, right? And I share that, right? And I think a lot of things that go through your head, it's honest things that goes to other people's head, and people want to talk about that, and people want to see who you are. So I think that's one, and help others. I look at what value, when I started this, I didn't really have any intention or I didn't see how effective the group is. But then when I started seeing the value that I bring just by asking questions or the value that other people bring just by providing answers to people, that really surprised me because when someone comes in, they could be stuck on a problem. And you probably know this, Curtis. You get stuck on a problem and mentally or just from lack of experience. But if someone comes in that's been through that problem, that gives a few responses, just 2 lines or just one sentence can save that person so much time in life, so much struggle that they would have. So I saw the value of that, and I tried to create the group so I can help many people as possible. And many of the problems that I have is also the problems that other people have. So support and encourage main contributors. So it's very important for you to encourage people, and people who actually engage, try to reward them. I reach out personally to certain people, and I get a lot of messages, and honestly, I don't really put too much attention to many of the messages I get because many of them are spam. Even if they're not, I just can't help everyone. But for those people who support and who contribute in the group, I spend a lot more time. Like Curtis, right? Curtis asked me about this. Normally, if anyone asked me, I probably say like, "Well, I don't have time." But Curtis contributes to the group a lot. He engages a lot. So I want to support and help him as well. So that's why I spent the time creating these 17 points. Schedule your posts, right? So I'm going to show you guys a little secret. So for me, I've already have my post schedule, right? So I look at the best performing times. Let's see. So if you go to the schedule post, right? So I have 13 posts scheduled. So for the month of April, I've already have all my posts scheduled. So this one's going on the 26th. This one's going on the 26th as well. This one's on April the 5th. This one's going on April the 5th as well. April the 9th, right? So this is Friday funny. April the 12th. Yeah, so for my next month, I've already scheduled all the posts and all the questions I have, right?
Sure, did you cover April Fool's Day?
Oh, I missed that. That's good. That's good, right? So anyway, so I schedule my whenever I have an idea. So I have an idea. Let's say it's a 7 p.m. at nighttime. I don't post because that's a low engagement time, right? So I would schedule it. So you look at your schedule, the engagement again. Look at here. It actually tells you which days are popular. Wednesday is the most popular, and tells you the time, right? So you get Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, right? So you can see when are the most highly engaged time. And I schedule it like right before, right? Because sometimes it takes time. So let's say on Monday, the highly engaged time here is 3 p.m. and 2 p.m., right? So I would schedule it. I don't actually schedule it during this time. What I've noticed is that the posts get a lot more engagement if it's scheduled before 1 p.m. So all my posts are actually scheduled before 1 p.m., right? Actually, I schedule my posts between 9 and 1, because if you look at the curve here, if you schedule earlier, all these people get to see it, right? If you schedule right at this time, then all these people like lower engagement during that time, right? So for me, I schedule all my posts. When I have an idea, I just post it and schedule it. And once a month at the beginning, right before the month, I would rearrange all the dates for my posts to make sure that it gets spread out for the month. So that's what I do. Schedule the post, support and contribute main stuff. I think I covered that. Get rid of junk. So this is very, very important. A lot of people that come into the group always say, "Hey, I really like this group because it's very engaging, and I don't see like Bitcoin and Forex and multi-level marketing and stuff like that." Because I spent a lot of time getting rid of junk. There's actually a tool that I use. It's called GroupBoss.io. And so what this does, I'll show you exactly how it works. So what I do is that all the members that apply here, right? So all these members that apply, I would actually one by one go through them, right? So we have 6,600 members in our group. So I probably went through like 9,000 members. 1 out of 3 people that actually don't make it through into the group. So I probably went through 9,000 members and manually unchecked, declined them, right? And I also set up filters as well, moderation alerts, right? So you can edit alerts. So you can create filters here. So these are my filter keywords, right? And you can use this, and I recommend that you guys do use this. So whenever someone types in these words in the post, automatically it will flag me, and I can delete the post and also remove them, right? So what I've noticed as I analyze thousands and thousands of posts that happens is that whenever someone types in these keywords, this eliminates about 95% of the spam. I would get an alert, and then they would get rid of it. There's also an engagement option, which I try, which isn't that effective. So engagement is that if they reach certain amount of engagement of a post, so if this post have liked, more than so much within a certain period of time, and then it will alert you of spam, right? I've never had that issue, and that doesn't seem to be very effective for me because we've already eliminated most of the people, right? And then
sorry to interrupt you, Shirk. I had one question about that app or the boss thing you just alluded to.
Yeah. Oh, so I think we explained what this app does, but what's the question? Is it what does this app do?
Yeah.
Okay. So basically this app, what it does is that, so when people come in, it asks them a bunch of questions like the email, the job and stuff like, or you could ask them the job and stuff like that. This actually puts it in and put it in a spreadsheet for you.
Oh, okay.
Right. So it help you keep track of that. Right. And, you know, so I know the creator, he's actually in our group as well.
Okay.
He's actually not from Toronto, but he's actually in our group as well.
Cool.
And then hopefully he'll be adding, and this integrates to your email marketing system as well.
Okay.
Hopefully he'll add some additional features to kind of automatically filter out people as well, which takes a lot of my time.
Sharky, another follow-up question about that. Is that website something that links to Facebook to help you manage it?
Oh, so it's this plugin right here, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So it automatically, it automatically shows when you add users, right? So basically it just manages. So it's like this says your CRM for FB group owners and communities. There's actually a lot of different Facebook tools which will help streamline your process. So this one will help you keep track of it. So get rid of junk. So the next one is critical mass. Right? So at the beginning, I had to push a lot of content out to get engagement. There's a little bit of engagement. But what I noticed was that when we hit about 5,000 members, that's when each member asks questions themselves. And if I take myself out of it, the momentum keeps on going, right? Pre 5,000, there was always me pushing the engagement content. If I didn't post anything, then there was no engagement, right?
Mm-hmm.
So after 5,000, that's what I noticed. Maybe different industries or you do things differently will have different numbers, but that was the critical mass for our group. So there's this one, limit outgoing links. So one thing that I learned about the social media platform is that they don't want people leaving. So if people post a link on the post, Facebook knows and LinkedIn knows. So they don't actually spread it, doesn't go viral. Because they know that, well, people are leaving, we don't want to endorse this. So it actually doesn't go viral. That's number one. And number two is that because people are leaving, they're less likely to actually post a comment about the post. So that's why I limit outgoing links. And usually outgoing links are spammy and it doesn't provide value because most people, when they are on Facebook, they don't want to leave Facebook, right? It's just not a good user experience. So I try to limit outgoing links. In the main post, in the comments, I allow outgoing links because it actually is helpful. If someone say, "Hey, check out this news article," or "Check out my website," or "Here's my, LinkedIn," that's helpful, right? So with that, I don't mind, but I don't allow that in the main one, main post. Or should I cut it down? And so the last point I want to make is give, right? It's the same thing as what Curtis is focused on and the value that he brings to entrepreneurs. Like give, right? That's, if anyone has kind of worked with me, or even now, like I give a lot. I don't expect anything back. I partner with people. At the beginning, there's certain people that want me to promote them in the group. I was like, is it of value to our members? Yes. That's fine, right? It's not zero-sum game. I try to give as much, and this is not just in Facebook group, but my life as well. I try to help out as many people as possible, and it's not a barter, right? It's not barter. It's not like, hey, Sharky, promote this for me, and then I'll do X for you, right? And I've worked with people that have approached me, which treat it like a barter, and I think that's okay. I mean, like if that's the way they want to do it, that's fine. But for me, I'm just like, you want to experiment with the group, you want to reach out to members, let's work together, let's create value for the members. I don't need anything in return. As long as it help you, then I'm happy. All right. So so those are my 17 principles. Right.
I love it. Thank you so much for sharing. Those are fantastic.
Yeah.
Sharky, these these points that you hit are really critical in basically growing a group. I have a few questions for you about it, though.
Okay.
Have you experimented with Facebook stories at all? And is that something that can be posted to the group, or is it more of a personal, personal thing that you post? Facebook stories. It's like Instagram.
I don't see the option. I don't know. I don't see the option for the Facebook groups.
Okay, but like your engagement with the group just through the group platform, or do you befriend a lot of people on there, or like does that help to build the group more?
Oh yes, that's also a really good point, right? So what I do is I actually befriend a lot of the people who contribute the most. We contribute a lot. The reason for that is because we're friends. If I post something, they're more likely to see it, and they're more likely to actually come in and contribute, right? So yes, that's a really good point. So that's definitely one way to do it.
And then how regularly should one post their content?
What in the group? As much as possible, actually. But you only have certain capacity, right? So the way I was thinking about earlier is that if I'm making 3 or 4 posts a week, 3 or 4 good content a week, I want to spread that. My engagement on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, I'll spread to Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, right? If I'm able to build 9 posts a week, then okay, I'll do 3 each day, right? Not necessarily like that, but that's the overall philosophy. You want to spread it out. My philosophy now is that okay, I have one on Monday, I have one on Friday. I want to keep the group going, so I'll just post 2 or 3 every single day. It doesn't matter which day that I post, because now there's a lot of other members in the group that are engaged, that are posting content, right? So,
okay.
Yeah.
What do you do when you run out of ideas? Where do you look for inspiration, I guess?
So the great thing is that I add, so one technique I do with content ideas is that I actually add myself to a lot of groups. When I add myself to a lot of like good groups, right? And then they'll show up in my feed. They'll show up ideas and stuff that's in my feed. And then for me, I'm just a very curious person. Like every single day I ask myself like 20, 50 questions, right? And some of them are appropriate, and some of them are not appropriate for the Facebook groups, right? The ones that are appropriate, I ask, right? The ones that are not, then I keep it to myself, and my friends.
As best as you can.
Pardon?
As best as you can.
Yeah, as best as I can. They're really good questions. I can't keep it to myself. I have to share with others. Yeah.
Okay. And then, in terms of like automation and member approval, how do you have you automated that? That's my first question.
No, I have not automated that, but okay. So I've approved 9,000. I hate manual work. I hate it like crazy, right? So I approved 9,000. Yeah, and I'm I'm really good at making things efficient. Right. So there's certain kind of principles that I use to filter out the spammers. So what happens is I approve people and they start spamming, right? So I start having these rules about people and then I start eliminating them, right? So one of the biggest, and I can't show you this because it has people's kind of contact information in it, but if you go, it gives you people's the location of when they actually join Facebook. If they join Facebook anytime less than 2 years, they're very likely to be spammers, right? If they live in a country that is in Africa and India, I'm not trying to be racist here. I love all my people, right? But if they're from like Africa or India, they're spammers. They're not spammers, but they're highly likely chance to be spammers, right? I look at their photos as well, right? If they have 3 or 2 of the same photos, they're likely to be a new account where they just put in their pictures. So those are the things that I kind of look at. And also look at the job. If they have Forex or Bitcoin in the job description, they're spammers. But just by following those few principles, you're very likely to eliminate most people.
I've noticed because I've been doing this manually since I just started my own group on Facebook, and I noticed some people write their occupation as like, or their place of the country that they live in. They put Facebook as that, and so that for me is an automatic rejection for joining the group. I don't know if that's like people just do it randomly, but I just thought they might be spammers, so I didn't add them into the group. Am I doing the wrong thing?
I actually never got that. Like, how big is your group, Curtis? Have you started yet, or are you planning to?
We're just early stages, about 165 people.
Okay, cool.
You're further than I am. I just started this month, so they're fairly small right now, and it's not hard to manage. But in the long run, I was hoping I can maybe automate it. And then kind of like see if anybody posts spams and then remove them and go through that process of elimination in that way. Is that troublesome? Is that like more work, do you think?
So remove it after they join?
After they join, to remove them like after, like to accept
after they make
automatically and then like filter through, because I don't want to keep people waiting for an acceptance into the group. I want them to be immediately let into it, and then like I will check regularly to eliminate all the spammers. Is that a wrong approach to it, or is there a better way of doing it?
Yeah, that's why I did at the beginning. I just kind of let most people in, and then I start seeing patterns, and it's just a lot more easier if you kind of filter out at that time rather than for them to come in and start spamming, and then. Because at one time you could block 5 or 10, 20 people. But if you just stop in your day and then block 1, stop in your day, block 2, block, and so on, that consumes even more time, right? So it's easier to do it that way.
Revisit that,
yeah. So if you follow my rules, like 2 years, they have to be on Facebook for at least 2 years, or they have if the place of the home is in Toronto or some like not the US, but in like Toronto or some legitimate place, then just let them in. If they're less than 2 years, but usually if you do 2 years, you eliminate like 95% of the spammers.
What about people with no profile pictures? What are your thoughts on that?
I actually so one of the members actually invited her boss in. And I think I blocked him because he didn't have a profile picture, but it was legit, right? So I noticed that certain couple of my friends actually don't have profile pictures because they don't want to be seen or whatnot. So I say that would be one factor, but I wouldn't say that's a big determining factor.
Okay. You've answered all my questions.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
Was that helpful for you, Curtis?
Absolutely. There was a lot of golden nuggets there. Really appreciate it. Appreciate you taking the time to put it all together. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. No, thank you for being part of the community.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Okay, thank you, Curtis, for joining us. Sharky, thanks for running the show today. Great presentation. We enjoyed the slides very much. And I don't know, we have one person in the audience. Would they?
Scott, do you want to come up here and say something?
Do you have any questions for Sharky or Curtis?
Or do you bring him up?
He is already up on the stage.
Is he?
Yes.
There you go.
There Scott. I am. Yeah, so I did have one question for Sharky. Do you ever bother reporting profiles to Facebook?
I block them. There's quite a few people that I block, but I don't report.
I think Sharky's too nice.
And busy. Nice and busy. Is that a problem for you, Scott?
Well, I mean, you mentioned Bitcoin, right? And just given the name of my company, If you do a Google search for works for my company, you're going to find a crap load of people on Facebook. And I've actually had people message me through my website and through Facebook asking to confirm if this person works for my company and where's their money, because they've been scammed.
Wow.
LinkedIn is really good about dealing with stuff like that, and it's very easy to look and see. Of course, it depends on what the size of your company. If you're IBM, you can't go through the hundreds of thousands of people that say they work there.
Yeah.
But I can see who says that they work for my company on LinkedIn, and if it's somebody that doesn't work for me, I can contact LinkedIn, and they'll get rid of them. Facebook doesn't do a damn thing.
How often does it actually happen?
Well, there's for me, it happens a lot.
What's a lot? Does it affect your workflow?
No. But it does. I mean, it does. It could potentially affect my reputation, right? Because there's nothing at all to stop somebody from saying that they work for XYZ company. Right. Nothing. Yeah. And you talk about triggers and profiles. Most of these people, they work for Facebook. They work for a million different companies. They've got them all listed on their profiles. It's insane, the stuff that's out there and what people do.
Oh, that's like a hack. So people
I don't know, because they just say that they work for, they work for this company and that company, and all you got to do is pull them in. And all you got to do is tag that you work for that company, and their logo shows up and their name shows up, and it lends credibility to what they're trying to do because it's a legitimate company.
Yeah, for sure.
Like I said, no success at all in reporting things to Facebook. And I've worked with the anti-fraud people in the federal government. They have ties into Facebook, and Facebook does jack. So I was just wondering if you had any experience with that.
Yeah. Does anyone else in the audience, if you're watching this live or even afterwards, do you have experience with that?
Let us know in the comments below.
Yeah.
Personally, I've heard stories about Instagram being more successful with it, with reporting and actually taking action in banning those accounts or closing them down. But on Facebook, I haven't heard about them doing too much about anything really.
Yeah, so. I mean, if they're not responding to an entity of the Canadian federal government, they're not going to respond to Joe Little Me.
Yeah. To Scott.
Oh well.
Yeah,
okay.
I don't have any. I mean, there's some ideas. I don't know how feasible it is, like changing your name or.
I tried all kinds of different things to break the links, and none of them succeeded.
Oh.
So that is what it is. Your presentation, by the way, Sharky, was really good. Very enlightening.
Thank you. And then, so Curtis, what's your plans with your group? Do you have a strategy you want to do, or how you want to position, or what value you want to bring through the group?
Yeah, so just like you, serve, and grow the community, and ideally acquire clients out of it. That, to be completely transparent, yeah.
Because personally, for me, what you describe about entrepreneurs having ups and downs and all these different things, right? It happens. It's so difficult. The swings are just so up and it's so wild. Absolutely. Even for me, right? Some days I think I'm gonna take over the world, and then a couple of days later or a couple of hours later, right?
Yeah, 100%.
It's like, what the heck am I doing? Questioning myself, right? So yeah. Having that coach and just having someone, especially for solopreneurs, is especially difficult. Like I have friends, and they support me, but they don't fully understand what I'm going through.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And a lot of people don't even want to share about it because they think something's wrong with them, you know? A lot of people keep it to themselves and it can eat at you.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's surprising that to me that they find it surprising. It's like all entrepreneurs when they first start out, they was like, oh, I start this for a couple of stuff and like it's just not working out. It's so difficult and this is this, right? And it is surprising to them, but it's a journey. It's a journey of every single entrepreneur.
Well, you know why they get surprised at finding out that this isn't the way. I think the main thing is that they don't know. Everybody doesn't think the way that they do. What I'm trying to say is like entrepreneurs think differently, and they experiment. They put in time and effort into projects that may or may not lead into something fruitful, and not everybody gets that because maybe they're happy with their 9 to 5s. Maybe they're okay with living paycheck to paycheck. Maybe they're okay with the flow of their life. And so for an entrepreneur to sit there and question what they're doing, they're obviously doing that to see if the system they're building is working. However, sometimes when that system fails, you start to question, you turn your questions to yourself and you're wondering, well, where am I standing? Why am I standing here doing this thing, which I have no business doing because, hey, I wasn't trained in it and I'm just figuring things out as I'm going. And that's really what an entrepreneur is. Your job is to be curious and to question things and to experiment and find new ways that perhaps haven't been found before. And so when you get stuck in that circle, your mind's going in circles and you're just turning all those questions to yourself. If you don't have the proper support and the right people around you to kind of help you out through that, it can be kind of depressing in a way to get stuck in a situation like that. And that's why some people give up on their startups. So having Curtis there will be key to guide you through it and help you out of that situation. So I think what you're building here is quite valuable. And it's great to have a community on the side, whether it's for generating leads or otherwise. I think the support to have like a community there where they can get together and talk it out or talk it through would be helpful to so many people.
Absolutely. Like I say, being an entrepreneur can be a very lonely place.
Yeah.
Community support, it all goes into helping us get where we want to go, because sometimes it literally there's not even a speckle of hope where we're heading.
And then, so what's your advice, Curtis, when that happens? If a solopreneur gets kind of down on themselves, like what suggestions do you have?
Well, you got to stop entertaining those ideas, and you got to start originating new ideas, and remember where you want to go, because you're essentially getting emotionally involved with the negative idea. So you really have to originate a new idea and get back in touch with your goal, your vision, and get emotionally involved with it. Stop putting energy into that negativity because it's going to do nothing for you.
Right.
Easy said than done.
Absolutely.
It's great advice, though. It's something that you don't realize that you're in that situation, and to have someone push you through it is it's basically what you need. Yeah.
I mean, we have the ability to think and choose, but a lot of us don't realize that because we're just running in these patterns. So we'll get involved and just go into that cycle of this downward spiral, as opposed to saying, hey, and snap out of it and choose a new idea and start to entertain that. We have that ability, but it takes study. It takes work to develop it. And some are better than others. And like I shared, for me, it was something I really had to work at, and I still work at it every day. But my mind was, it was my biggest block in my life because I kept getting in my own way.
Right.
Do you have any thoughts on that, Scott? Do you experience
I was actually, I did a podcast interview yesterday, and a similar question came up, and my response was, and I realized that I'm different than a lot of entrepreneurs. I never set out to start a business. It was never part of my DNA. It wasn't who I was. But situations occur, and I didn't have a lot of choice. But getting to that point and starting this business, I did it because, one, I was, getting on in age, and trying to go back out onto the job market. Who wants to ever do that? And I was already doing something that I enjoyed doing. So I was doing very similar to what I'm doing now. But as I said yesterday, this is my last job. I'm not an entrepreneur who's in it to start a dozen businesses. I don't have any intention. I have zero plans of selling my company. That's not on the horizon. This is my last job, and I'm not done with it. So it doesn't matter how tough it is. It doesn't matter whether COVID has, taken away virtually all my revenue, and, I'm struggling. I'm not going anywhere. And I mean, that's what keeps me going. I need to keep this business going because it's my livelihood. It's what I'm doing, but I also need to bring my people back. I need to get my people back employed. And once I'm doing that, then I know that I'm already helping a lot of other people through what I do, as you know. So that's what drives me. That's what keeps me going. And like I said, I realize I'm different than a lot of other people. I know what I'm doing, or I know what I want to do, and this is it. So I will just make it happen.
I love that. That's a great example, though. You have made a committed decision, and you're sticking with it no matter what. Come hell or high water, you're going for it, and there's no questioning it. I love that.
But without any doubt, I mean, everybody is different, right? I mean, people start businesses and they want to have half a dozen. I'm just not that way. I started my working career giving everything that I had to the company that I worked for. Well, it's no different. It's just now it's me. So, that's where I'm at.
That's good. If anyone else in the group have a tip on getting over that hump, let us know. Post in the comments. We'd love to know what other entrepreneurs do. And then let's give a shout out to all the people that has joined us and commented. Gunjang, she says hello, everyone. Everyone says hello back to you. And then there's Franny. Can't stay, but looking forward to this later. So a lot of people are watching this afterwards. I know it's dinner time. And Bailey, of course, one of our very active members. There, Sharky has 8 monitors, one for each platform. Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
So that's good. So we get about maybe 600, 700, 800 people watching this at the end of our members. For anyone that's watching this and you got to this point, please post a comment. Let us know what you think, what can add value to you. They're really helpful. Just to end things off, one very important kind of question for Curtis. Can you tell us more about the kind of coaching program?
Let's give a shout out to all the people that
and what, like, how often it is, and what do entrepreneurs need? Is it the same or is it different? Or like, how do you structure on what the entrepreneurs actually need and what's actually helpful for them?
So it is really individualized. What they take out of it is exactly what they need. It was actually created from about 60 years of research by one of the leading authorities on human growth and potential. I'm not sure if you've heard of him. A lot of people have. Bob Proctor. So this is a program that he's created over his lifetime and
The
took
Secret, right? Was he?
He was in The Secret, yeah. So I facilitate people through this program, and it's essentially a repeatable formula that's going to help people grow in their level of awareness and achieve what it is that they want. And then when we go and set new goals, like I shared, or new ventures or changes that we're after, you got to start back at square one and grow in your level of awareness as well, and become that new person again. So it's taking people from A to Z on how to achieve these things with their mind, and just how they're perceiving everything around you.
And how long is the program? How much time? Well, with the set part of it, right? I think it's variable within each kind of period, but
no. So it's 12 modules we go through, and it's 6 months. So we spend 2 weeks on each module, and it's a lot of self-study. There's a lot of watching videos, listening to things, and writing, and then calls, weekly calls where we get together as a community and work through things and discuss the material and stuff.
Okay.
So it's pretty intensive.
Okay, for someone who's really hit that, stop on thinking to move ahead, what kind of feedback do you have for them? How do they get past that, I guess, creative block?
Yeah, I mean, everyone has a different answer, but in a way, it always comes back to the same thing. It's really what is stopping you. And we have this habit of blaming the external. I know shit happens, excuse my language, like COVID happens, things happen, but when you start to really understand how creation and goal achieving and all that works, you're not going to let that stop you. Okay? You're not going to be controlled from the outside. No matter what's happening on the inside, when you start having control from on the outside, when you start having control of the way you're thinking and the way you perceive things on the inside, you'll just find another way. You won't let that thing stop you, and you'll find a solution. You'll find an innovation. The problem is most of us allow the outside to control us, and someone says something happens, it doesn't work out, we give up. And that's part of the problem, is we're stuck working and living through our senses. And that's a lot of this program teaches people how to live from the inside out and start to really live in harmony with some of the laws of the universe, principles, creation. Sharkey does, a lot of people don't know this, but Sharkey is definitely doing one of them. There's one that's called the impression of increase, the law of increase. And it's giver's gain. People are not going to do well in their life if they're not giving to others, as a general rule. The more you give, the more you get back without expectation. And Sharkey said that too. And not knowing Sharkey too well, I'm sure it comes back not just financially either. It comes back spiritually and in health. So I would say, just what I know of Sharkey, how generous he is with his time, I would say he's rewarded probably generously in certain areas of his life.
Yeah, like 100%. I mean, one of the biggest surprises that I got from managing the group is the amount of help and value I got from other people. Like, I help so many people without expecting anything, and then I'm just and I don't know why, but I'm just surprised when people do the same for me. But people do it all the time, and it's like, okay, wow, that's really useful. And do you want me to pay you? That's what goes in my head, and just the amount of value that other people provide, like 100%.
Yeah, I would say too, one of the quickest ways and the best ways to get out of our own pity party, when we're just all the victim, because we focus on ourselves so much. People are just so self-centered and me, and we think we're the only one with this problem, but everyone else is experiencing the same thing, is to go and help someone, is literally get out of yourself and go be of service.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm finding with the group that I'm running for interior designers, essentially a lot of people have stepped in to help out with the talks that we have weekly, and I have sessions going on every day except maybe Friday evenings and Mondays, which actually Mondays are changing soon. So we have all these discussions happening, And I've had people reach out who want to participate, and then people who have businesses and they have their own intentions for participating in those rooms and wanting to be a part of it. But essentially, it's another helping hand that I can certainly use, right? And similar to your goal, Curtis and Sharky as well, my goal is to build a community for interior designers as well. And so I've been finding that a lot of people are willing to lend a hand. And there are some people that I have reached out and I say, well, they simply don't have the time for it because they're running their own business 24/7, and it's like taking care of a child, right? So they have their hands full and they simply say, well, I'm sorry, but I can't help you. Or maybe like they try to give back in another way to the community. So they have their own things going. But there are people out there who are willing to put in the time and to give back to the community with, I guess, through putting time for other people and answering questions, whether it's mentoring some people who are new to the business. There are so many people who are willing.
Yeah. So one of the principles of success absolutely is to be of service, to give.
Certainly, and I agree with that as well. Sharky, do you have any other questions for Curtis?
No, I'm good. It looked like we're running out of time, right? So I'm good. I'm happy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there you have it. Another session with Toronto entrepreneurs and startups. Thank you for listening in, and thank you, Scott, for joining us on in the chat and bringing your question up. For anybody who's been listening in, if you know a better way of dealing with some of those spammers, let us know in the comments below. And with that, we bid you farewell until next week. Sharky?
Just one last thing. Last thing. If you want to be featured as a Canadian entrepreneur for a spotlight for future ones, go to es1.ca/apply spotlight. So it's in the comment section as well. It's in comments in the description section. And we hope to see you up here one day.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Sharky.